Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about Fear the Walking Dead Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2. In case you missed it, they aired them both last night, and we're going to go in depth, so here's your spoiler warning. The very first thing I want to talk about real quick, though, is the format that we're tweaking. Right after the new Walking Dead episodes and Fear the Walking Dead episodes, we're doing the live video. Now, hold on real quick because a lot of people missed this announcement. The very first 20 minutes or so, give or take, I'm going to reserve that time for my thoughts and opinions. My original, remember we were doing the first impression reviews? Well, those are going to be in the first 20 minutes, and then after we're going to take questions, and then afterwards I can either take, for Fear the Walking Dead, I'll take my first impression review and then repost that separately as a highlight for those who missed it or those who don't want to just watch the first 20 minutes. And then with The Walking Dead, we will be doing the in-depth review a day or 2 days, depending on how long and how much material is there, after the live video. So I've seen a lot of people worried that that's taking over the original reviews, and that's not happening at all. So in case you missed that update, no, it's not. We're talking live afterwards with the first 20 minutes of my first impressions, and then the next day or maybe 2 days later, we'll do the in-depth review. Now, first thing I want to talk about and get this out of the way, the big death. All right, and this was Travis in the very beginning of episode 2. And for a lot of people who love the death, and I know a lot of people were saying it was unpredictable and out of nowhere and it was awesome and they loved it. I do have to say I went back and rewatched it a number of times because something was nagging me. And the thing that was nagging me is how beautifully shot it was. I think Travis's death was absolutely beautiful. The way it was shot. The character choice for who dies, or better yet, when they die, in the series, I think that was probably one of the worst mistakes they could have possibly made. Still, now, after watching both episodes and then the death a number of times, I think one of the best moments is when he was asking for help. He said, "Help me." And in the very beginning, you think he's saying help me because he got shot. But then you realize he's saying help me because he wants them to help him get his body out of the the helicopter, because he's going to die. And if you die, you turn into a walker. And I think that was done just exceptionally well. I thought it was beautiful. When you go back and rewatch it, it is heartbreaking. That reality that he instantly knows, I don't know if it was his guts or his neck or whatever. And if you missed it, the bullets went up through his seat, blasting his guts out of his belly, and then he fell out of the helicopter, so he's not alive. He's 100% confirmed. He's not out there. It's not, oh, I didn't see his body, so he's not dead. No, he is dead. But I think that's heartbreaking that the first thing he thought of was to protect Alicia and to protect Lucy and everyone else in the helicopter by getting his body out, because he knows this is it. He's wounded and wounded bad. Now, the reason I don't like the death, not just the death itself, but its placement in the story is, and this is an example, not a comparison. Every time we bring up the original Walking Dead, I think some people, their brains shut down and they think we're comparing. This is an example, not a comparison. Look at Shane. Shane had a good life, good death on The Walking Dead season 1 and 2, and I thought it was great. When he died, I thought he was a really interesting character, and he was charismatic and magnetic, and I wanted to see what his character would do, you know what I mean? So when he died, it was like, oh man, that was awesome. We lost a character that, was a really cool character, but still, that was awesome. The way the story came around, the way it wrapped up, and the way it finished, it was just great. With Travis's story, I feel like it's as if back in season 1, if you would have blown Shane up trying to escape the CDC, that's how I feel about Travis dying. I feel like Travis had a good half season, maybe another full season before you gave him this death. I feel like it was out of place. I feel like it was a decision maybe they made to make the fan base feel like, okay, you know what? They don't think we have the balls to kill off the characters. Let's pick one. And I think it blew up in their face because, in all honesty, based on the fan bases, Travis was the easiest one. He's the most predictable one. If you would have sat down and said, we're killing one of these 4, who do you think it is? I think Travis would have been first. Again, picking from the main, what they've been building with Madison, obviously, and then the girl, Alicia, her fan base from the 100 spilling over into this, and then Nick. I do believe down the line, it's possible they could come out with some crazy death and kill off either Alicia or Nick. But again, now that they are beating away at that core, it's becoming less likely and less likely that these core members of this family are in danger. Now, with that said, I do want to burn through a couple of the notes I wrote down, and these are some of the problem areas. And I will, for those interested, I've seen a lot of comments that said, "Hey, Ronnie, pick out your top 3, worst things about Fear the Walking Dead that are problem areas that you would like to see fixed." And I think the very number one, which is something new, I think the very first episode, the way they edited it, the way it was edited was ridiculous. I went back and counted what was it? 40 edits in a minute and 3 seconds in the very beginning, and they had a couple steady shots that were beautifully done, and if they would have kept that, I really feel like it would have done something amazing. Not only that, they had about a half a dozen to a dozen blurry shots. They went blurry to crystal clear. They were all over the place with the shaky cam. I seen a lot of comments too where people thought their connection was a problem. They thought that wherever they get their the show from was screwing up because it looked that bad. That's embarrassing that you created a show and not created a show, that you made an episode and it looked so bad. Some people watching it, a handful, thought that it was their provider who was screwing the picture up. That's bad. When you go to the fight scene, this is one of the most problematic because this is where you want it to be the most interesting and you want to be able to know what the hell is going on. There are 45 edits in a 30-second period around, I think it's 43 minutes in, give or take, 43 minutes and 30-some seconds in. 45 edits, and again, give or take. There might be 41, there might be 47, because I think I missed 1 or 2 edits, or maybe overcounted an edit or 2. But that is ridiculous. That's like 3/4 of a second. Every 3/4 of a second you're making an edit. So I think that was problem area number 1 when The Walking Dead came back. Problem area number 2, Travis died at the wrong time. And then problem area number 3, I think it is retreading old ground. All this stuff we've already seen before. And this doesn't break down to something that I've always said before. If you go back and watch my older videos when people criticize The Walking Dead for being repetitive, finding the farm, finding the prison, finding Alexandria, my comeback was, we're watching them survive. You know what I mean? This is what we want, and I stand by that. That is what we want. I want to watch these characters survive. That's the only thing I want to do. I don't give a shit about healing or solving the virus. I don't care about that shit. I just want to see them survive in this world. But there's too many things that are identical that don't need to be identical. That makes it seem like it's the same show we've already seen before, just different characters. Like Madison, one example, Madison's speech about taking over the ranch, there's no way around it. You can't deny it. You can't, defend it. It is identical. It's just a ripoff of Rick's speech when he was at Alexandria. Those are the things that could be changed, and it won't hurt the story. You could change the way she said that. You can change everything about that conversation, and you can still have the same story, but the dialogue won't be a ripoff of the original show's dialogue. You know what I mean? And that's not just a problem with the companion show. I know with Telltale Games, there's some moments where it's like, well, this is, this is really not creative. With the novel, with this, with that, it gets to the point where it feels like we just keep getting the same story over and over. Now, again, I'll run through the list real quick, and then I'll leave it up to you guys, because I do want to hear your thoughts and opinions. We talk about this ever since season 1. Fear the Walking Dead, I had no idea that it would just be so argumentative, and it blows my mind, because with The Walking Dead, when I say I love this moment, hated this moment, so many fans talk about why they loved that moment that I hated, and they talk about why they hate that moment I loved. With Fear the Walking Dead, it gets so bad I don't even want to discuss it anymore, because all we get is, if you hated it, you should love it. You're wrong. You're mad. You hate it just because. You know what I mean? But if you love it, you're just a fanboy. There's no real discussions. People don't break it down like they do with other shows. And I don't know why, because The Walking Dead is a sister show, and we discuss openly about that, what we love and hate. But when it comes to Fear, everybody's so damn sensitive. The fan base just turns into bickering bitches for 80% of the time. You know what I mean? Myself included, because I get frustrated having to explain things over and over again, and I'll just be like, I'll be short sometimes and not want to explain it. So I'm in that mix too. But let's burn through this. This is not an intellectual thing. I've seen that a handful of times. If I hate an episode and you loved it, it does not make you dumb and me smart. And you'll be shocked how often I see that. That is just a stigma we need to get rid of. It has nothing to do with intelligence. Your enjoyment and how something entertains you does not confirm whether you're a dumbass or a genius. That's ridiculous. I think we should all of us together in this community, we need to just take a breath, take a step back, and let's talk about why we love the scenes and why we didn't like the scenes, because your perspective on why you love this scene, why you love Travis's death, might help me to understand it a little better, your point of view, and it might make me, in rewatching it, like it a little bit better and maybe get over the fact that it's not as bad as I first perceived. So, by all means, in detail, thoughts and opinions about why you loved it. I'm probably the first one who's dying to know. I want to know and read about it because I do strongly believe it changes someone's perspective. All right, so we did the terrible edits. Travis sees Nick. That's too similar to the Terminus stuff. We've already gone over that. The bathroom, what was that, shooting with Travis is stone cold. That was one of the best things. I love mentioning that. It was such a small scene, but for me, I think it was so awesome. The chair, yeah, they're trying to break out of the office, and all they need to do is smash the window. When I went and rewatched that scene, it's even more pathetic because she's even touching the big window that I did not see. That is a regular office. That's not a bulletproof window. If it is, that's strange because it's a regular office. You have the bulletproof window, and then you have that foggy glass. If you know what I mean, it's the cloudy, bubbly shit. Anyway, that chair that she was trying to make a weapon out of, she could just smash that through the window and they could get out. I don't know. Anyway, so we have the spoon to the eye, too reminiscent of the governor, but this could be a cool thing because if they're paying homage, I'm cool with that. That is fun if it's an homage. But again, the eye injury, now the eye patch. We had the governor, now we got Carl, now we got this guy. It's enough with the eyes, guys. We have the army. They're packing up to leave, but they're still doing experiments. It seems a little forced in there to be able to do the experiments, but also leave to get them to the base. They don't need that because once the walkers come in, they can make an emergency getaway anyway. So I feel like that's something they just didn't need that. The leaving soon part. We got Nick, Madison's sister, the failed reunion. That's because, and again, if you want some more in-depth stuff on this, the first 20 minutes, I talked a little bit more, but I'm going to skim through it for those who have seen that live video. But the reunion, for me, it failed flat on its face because I didn't like the reason Nick left the family. I thought it was dumb. So when they had their reunion, for me, it was just like, oh, finally, they're back together. Let's get on with the story instead of with Game of Thrones had a reunion, even the past season, and it was like you wanted to jump out of your chair. And that's because the way they split up, it wasn't because someone just made a dumb decision. It had a good reason for splitting up. When they split up, I was thinking about this before. I forget what it was now, but I was talking to my brother, and I was like, man, it would have been so heartbreaking and intense if Nick left. Imagine this real quick. Nick leaves to go find Travis, right? He does this for his mother. And then when he's coming back, he sees it burning down. Madison sees Nick. She goes to call out, but the people are shooting at him because the people who were with the mansion and it's burning down the ranch, they're shooting at them. So now we got the people coming with guns. Madison can't yell out to Nick. Nick needs to flee. He sees that they're getting ready to flee in the truck and yada, yada, yada. And then Madison's got this guy with a gun right next to her, so she can't yell out to Nick. Nick disappears in the walkers, and she's able to finally get around to where the truck is. And as they're fleeing, they're getting shot at. She sees them in the walkers. They try to turn. Maybe they even wave, go this way, and make it so they get split up in a dramatic and sympathetic way instead of having him just turn around and leave. I worded that a lot better. I had something I was thinking of that day that was just so, gut-wrenching in a way that they would split up, and you have that moment where she can't yell, but now I'm thinking, well, what did I come up with to have the car there? But you get what I'm saying. Now, if you have that heartbreaking split-up scene and they get separated and now they're looking for each other, and now once they reunite, it is more impactful now. It's more of a reward for the fans than it was, in my opinion, the way they did it. All right, so we have the wall vent. Yeah, it's nuts and unrealistic. They pulled a guy through the wall. But for zombie gore, I love that part. I watched that like 3 more times afterwards, and I was like, yeah, that's good old-fashioned zombie gore fun right there. And it's not that ridiculous. It's a little bit ridiculous, but it's not too much where you're like, oh man, my God. The slow-moving zombies used as a plot ploy, that is getting old already. It's like, I want the zombies to be more of a character, more of a threat, more dangerous. Nowadays, it kind of feels like they go, okay, well, we need these characters to move fast, and we need it to be chaotic. Yeah, let's unleash a herd of zombies. You know, that'll get them moving. We got she took the eye, but I'll still save her. Yeah, I don't see that. You take out my eye, I'm ending your life. There's no way around it. What did I write here? Why not Lucy's people? Listen, I thought about this after I did the video last night. When they were taking the people, tying them up and shooting them, when I rewatched it, I was thinking, wait a minute. It would be gut-wrenching if these people are Luciana's people. That shit would have been gut-wrenching for her and Nick. Why in the hell did they not do that? These people were strangers. They could have had the stranger, Steven, who said he could help them get out. But the other people that were being shot, they could be from Lucy's, the Colonia. So that would be, you know, Nick feels like this is his fault. If he's watching Lucy's people get killed, she's watching them too. That moment, maybe you guys can explain why they didn't use that, because for me, it feels like such a massive emotional oversight that I can't fathom why they didn't have the guys round up some of her people and use them to really hit the characters emotionally. I think that would have, emotionally, it would have moved the fan base as well. So that I just didn't understand. Let's see, we got Travis's death. I said fucking boo. I already explained that. Everyone at the hotel should die. Yeah, they suck. They just suck. When I rewatched it, I think it's a reward for the fans if something bad happens. Like if they turn Hector into some type of villain, and it seems like they're going into that direction where just a little piss ant of a villain, and then the girl too. Everyone at the hotel, they need to just die. I think that's a reward for the fans. If they just disappear and they're just shit people, well, they're just shit characters. I just think that's another failed opportunity. Strand staying back at the hotel, also another failed opportunity. I mean, it doesn't do anything except for forcing him to have a different storyline with a different group. Maybe the group that Strand meets up with is the one that shot down the helicopter, you know what I mean? So that causes some type of friction. I don't know. People versus people standoff, it's getting to be too much. The Nick with the gun and yada, yada, yada. Madison finding out about Travis and tells Alicia to go. She turns around immediately, walking in the same direction. Madison's, you know, emotional breakdown finding out about Travis was very weak. And again, I don't know if this is the actress or how they decided to film it, in the way they decided to film it, in the place and in the time. Because like I said last night, you had her, she finds out immediately after we have a crisis happen with them wanting to shoot Lucy and not bring her in. And then after that, we have her and they're doing an edit where she's throwing up and they're cutting the scene where she's, you know, crying down, crying up, and she's all distraught. I just feel like that was a complete and utter fail. And maybe it was the actress, maybe because of the way they were filming, or maybe she's just phoning it in. Maybe she's at that point where she's phoning it in, but I don't want to believe that because I like Kim Dickens. But that was a very underwhelming performance, losing someone that was loved. I just watched the ending of the series finale for The Leftovers, and my God, was that emotional. And they have a moment where people are just sitting there, you know, face to face with each other, and the tears, the welling, the emotions. I mean, it was magnificent. I don't know why we couldn't have got a scene like that with real emotions in Fear the Walking Dead. Like, it's a zombie show, but still, if you're going to have characters get emotional and lose somebody, let's make it look real. Let's make it look emotional. Let's make it look sad. It didn't look sad. It looked like crocodile tears. There was a real tear come down, but I would rather see eyes that are just burning red, snots, you know, tears. Let her break down, and don't give me that shit that she's cold and all this. No, that's an absolute failure. This is something that she did not want to lose. This is a part of her heart, and this is something she invested into. You know what I mean? No. It was underwhelming. what in Madison's takeover, it's retreading old ground. So at the bottom line, wait, I also wrote something down. 3 shots, 3 kills. Yeah, I've taken a lot of people over the years to the gun range, a lot of different females and males, and one thing that shocks them, especially people that are new to guns, is how difficult it actually is to shoot a pistol. Shooting it, they're not all. Some are really easy, and I'm talking about the actual kick, you know? Some of them are incredibly easy. I'm talking about the difficult part is how you really overestimate how it is lining your shot up and getting a shot off just a few feet in front of you. And given we use bullseyes where it's really fine targets, but still, I just don't believe Alicia's gonna, in pitch black dark, the first time really she's ever shot a gun, held a gun, I don't believe she's gonna be that good. 3 shots, 3 headshots, bullshit. I know The Walking Dead does this too with headshots and stuff like that, but the one headshot was the guy and the walker right next to each other. I think they could have had her miss once or twice and have it a little bit more realistic. But again, that one is a little nitpicky because all of TV does that. You know what I mean? As far as my overall thoughts and opinions, this is where it gets confused the most. I've seen a chunk of fans who really did like it, who asked why I didn't like it as much. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. They didn't really love it because the main point is they said it was okay. They said, why are you hating on it? Why are you so rough on it? It was okay. It was not great. It was not perfect. It was okay. I didn't really like it, but it was okay. And I looked back at my review because I was like, well, maybe I misspoke. So I watched the whole hour and 26 minutes, and I said it was okay. Yeah, I go into the negatives purposefully because I feel like they deserve an explanation. If you say, well, I didn't like this, or it wasn't that good, or this scene was a fail, I feel like they deserve the explanation about why. And a lot of the good scenes, we breeze over them. Yes, this was cool because it is set in the third. And then everything else, yes, I liked it. It was entertaining. It was enjoyable. And that's pretty much it. Talk about how things are symbolic or how things come full circle and everything like that. But I really make it a point to break down the negatives so that way because if I just said, well, it was bad because it was bad, I feel like that's a really weak way to review and discuss something. So when it came down to it, bottom line, I think I said the first episode, there was a lot. I was on the edge of my seat. And then when they killed Travis for the second episode, I kind of lost a lot of interest. And then the editing, too, really was yanking me out of it. But in the end, I think I gave him a 6 out of 10. And a 6 out of 10, a 5 for me is like a meh. 6 out of 10 is okay. 7 out of 10, I like it. 8 out of 10, I really like it. 9 out of 10, I love it. 10 out of 10, it's perfection. So I was just baffled by so many people saying, okay, it wasn't great, but it was okay. So why are you so rough on it? But I said it was okay. If I picked out all the negatives and at the end, if I say it's okay and then you say it's okay, I'm just baffled how that cluster of people thought I was too rough on it. You didn't think it was amazing or outstanding. You just thought it was okay. And I just thought it was okay. So that part little baffles me a bit. But I think that, ties into something with this fan base where when it comes to Fear the Walking Dead, it's just... I don't know. It's not good, healthy dialogue. It is fans against each other. Fans that like it against fans that don't. And then the next week you could like something that another fan doesn't, and you're at each other's throats. You know what I mean? The same fan that last week loved it, you know what I mean? And you guys were shit talking each other. This week the roles are reversed, and the person who loved it last week hated it, and the person who hated it last week loved it, and you guys are now shit talking each other. I see that everywhere, and it's just like, let's, it's nonsense. We should just talk about what you love, talk about what you hate, and then move on. So again, Fear the Walking Dead Season 3, it was okay, and I am done trying to feel like this is going to turn around and be something amazing and outstanding. At this point in time, I will wait and see what kind of changes they make for Season 4, but I'm done. I think this show, for me personally, will just be okay, and it won't grow any better than that. If it wasn't for reviewing it and talking with it to the community. I would probably miss the first airing. I would probably have other things going on that I would, most likely do. I would get to it eventually, but this isn't a show that I must watch the moment it's on. Again, other than the fact that I like reviewing and discussing it. I think I love discussing it no matter what, the good and the bad. I think the discussion part, not the generic conversations where it's like, you should just love it to love it, or you should just hate it because it's dumb. Because at the same strength, there's so many people talking about love it to love it. There's also that group that they just give up on it, and they want everyone else to give up on it. And I'm not ready to give up on it yet. Bottom line, I'm not ready. I want it to rebound. I want it to rebound a lot. Anyway, thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.